The sky turned red over New York before anyone knew why. People looked up, confused. Some took out their phones to record the strange light. Children pointed. Tourists cheered, thinking it was part of a show. But it was not a show. It was the end of everything they knew in just 3 minutes. The first alien weapon hit the city. A massive blue beam cut through the tallest buildings. Glass exploded, concrete melted, streets turned into rivers of fire. Millions died in seconds. The rest screamed, but their screams were lost in the thunder of destruction. It wasn't just New York, Tokyo, Paris, Cairo, Sydney, Moscow, all hit within minutes. Satellites in orbit stopped working. Communication lines went dead. The sky turned black as hundreds of alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere. No message, no mercy. The attack came without reason. No one knew who the enemy was. They had never been seen before. But their technology was far ahead, too fast, too powerful. Earth's military tried to fight back. Jets were launched. Missiles fired, but nothing worked. Fighter planes were crushed mid-air by invisible force fields. Missiles exploded before reaching their targets. Ships in the oceans were lifted out of the water and ripped apart like paper. Human weapons were useless. World leaders sent emergency messages: stay indoors, remain calm, we are defending you. But even they knew it was a lie. Earth was losing by the third hour. Over 1 billion people were dead. The aliens didn't speak. They didn't land. They just hovered above, destroying everything. From a distance, but then, just as suddenly as it began, they stopped. The alien ships pulled back, rising above the clouds. Then higher. Then out of the atmosphere. And then they vanished. No one knew why. The Earth was left in silence. Smoke covered the skies. Fires burned in every major city. Families cried over bodies. Governments were in chaos. And somewhere deep in space, the enemy watched in a bunker under the Rocky Mountains. A man named General Travis looked at the reports. His hands were shaking. He was a soldier who had seen war, but nothing like this. They didn't even talk to us, he said. They just erased us. Next to him, a scientist named Dr. Ayla Wren stood with tears in her eyes. This was a test, she said quietly. What? They didn't want to conquer. They didn't want land or power. They just wanted to see how we'd react. General Travis looked at the broken screen. It showed red marks over half the Earth. We reacted, he said bitterly. We died. Dr. Wren looked up, but we also survived. In the following days, Earth tried to recover. Nations united for the first time. Borders didn't matter anymore. Race, religion, politics, nothing mattered except survival. A global government was formed under one name, the Earth Defense Union. Underground cities were built, satellites repaired. Every surviving scientist, engineer, and soldier was brought together. They didn't know when the aliens would return. But one thing was certain, they would return, and next time, Earth would be ready. The people were no longer afraid. They were angry. In a small classroom in what remained of London, a young boy named Isaac looked at a photo of his parents. They had died in the first blast. His teacher, an old woman who had seen the sky burn, whispered to the class, "We were caught sleeping once, never again." Isaac raised his hand. "Who were they?" "No one knows," the teacher replied. "Call them the Zoroth. Will they come back?" The teacher's eyes darkened. "Yes, and next time will be the fire." Back in the hidden base, Dr. Wren stood before a screen. It displayed the design of a new kind of ship, sleek, dark, powerful. "We call it Project Vengeance," she said. General Travis nodded. "What powers it?" Dr. Wren gave a small smile. "The thing they don't have the human will to survive." The camera zoomed out. A massive underground hangar, half-built ships, thousands of workers. Humanity had been broken, but not destroyed. And in the silence of space, a message was sent to every star system. They struck Earth once. The next time will be their last. 3 months had passed since the attack. The world was still quiet. No ships in the sky. No alien voices. But everyone knew it was not over. It was only the calm before the storm. Humanity had changed. The cities were still broken. Smoke still rose from the ground. But underground, deep below the Earth Project, vengeance had begun. It started inside a hidden mountain base called Black Core. built beneath Antarctica's frozen land. It was once a secret lab. Now it was Earth's last hope. Inside, lights blinked, machines roared, and people worked day and night. Dr. Ala Ren stood at the center of it all. She was only 34, but her mind was sharper than most. Before the attack, she built deep space probes. Now, she was designing warships machines made to kill. Ala stared at a glowing 3D model of a giant ship. It had sharp angles, dark armor, and something newer neural engine, powered by human emotion. This ship won't just move, she said to her team. It will feel, it will learn, and it will never stop. The name of the ship was simple: Judgment. General Travis walked into the room, his face tight and tired. "Is it ready?" he asked. Ayla shook her head. 2 more months, maybe less." "We don't have time," he said. Our deep space scans picked up something. She turned to him, tense. "What kind of something?" "A ripple, a gravitational wave near Saturn, like a ship entering real space." Ayla's heart sank. "They're watching us." Travis nodded. "And they'll strike again, harder." The Earth Defense Union gave the order: accelerate the project. Every country sent what they could: parts, people, knowledge. Factories worked non-stop. Satellites were fixed. AI was trained to build faster than ever. In the middle of it all stood Judgment. Its body was made from Earth's strongest metal titanium dark steel alloy. Its engines used plasma pulse drives, stolen from alien tech. Its weapons were designed to burn through Zorath shields. But the most dangerous part was inside. The core. The neural rage drive. Ayla had built it herself. It took the emotional pain of human memory sphere. Loss, and Garan turned it into raw power. Grief becomes energy, she explained. Rage becomes fuel. But there was one problem. The ship needed a human mind to guide it, not a pilot. A connection. A human who had felt great pain and survived. They found that person in a young soldier named Commander Raynor Hale. Raynor had lost his wife and daughter in the attack on Los Angeles. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He simply volunteered. "I want to be inside the thing that kills them," he said. Ayla warned him. "The neural core will enter your mind. It will feel everything you feel. You could lose yourself." Raynor looked her in the eyes. "I already lost everything." The bonding began. Raynor lay inside the neural chamber. Wires connected to his skin. Lights pulsed around him. The machine spoke in a cold voice. Link initializing. Neural pain detected. Rage level 91%. Then something strange happened. The ship shook. The lights flickered. The AI voice changed, deeper now. ... "Judgment online," Ayla gasped. "It's responding." Raynor opened his eyes. They were glowing red dot. News of the progress spread across the remaining cities. People whispered, "We have a ship now." Children drew pictures of Judgment with fire behind it. The Zorath were still silent, but they were watching, and Earth was preparing. In space, far beyond Pluto, a small Zorath scout ship picked up a strange signal. The alien captain tapped the screen. It showed a new warship launching from Earth's orbit. "Primitive creatures," he hissed, "still building with fire and steel." But then the signal changed. The human warship vanished from sensors, completely cloaked. Then it reappeared behind the Zorath ship. The alien turned in panic. "Impossible." A single word echoed in space from Judgment's deep speakers: "Burn." A flash of red light. The Zorath scout ship exploded into dust. Back at Black Core, alarms rang. A message came through. The first test of Judgment had succeeded. Ayla stared at the data. 1 shot, 1 kill. Travis stood beside her. "They know now," Ayla nodded. "Good." Earth's message to the stars was simple. "You struck Earth once. Next time, we strike back." The warship Judgment was no longer just a machine. It was alive. It had a human mind at its heart. And that mind was angry. Commander Raynor Hale had become part of the ship. His thoughts guided its movements. His pain fueled its power. His memories gave it purpose. Every time he remembered the faces of his dead wife and daughter, the ship grew stronger. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Dr. Ayla Ren watched the data from the control room at Black Core. Heart rate stable. Neural load 85%. Emotional energy output increasing. "Raynor's not just connected," she whispered. "He's merged." Beside her, General Travis crossed his arms. Can he control it? Ayla frowned. So far, yes. But for how long? I don't know. The truth was, no one knew what would happen if a human stayed inside the neural core. Too long. Far from Earth, deep in the cold of space. Judgment hunted. It didn't wait for orders. It scanned deep space channels, searching for signs of the Zorith. It listened to energy waves, followed faint trails of alien drives, and then it found one. A Zorith communication satellite hidden inside an asteroid field. Raynor didn't hesitate. The ship moved through the rocks like a ghost, cloaked in black light. The satellite never even saw it coming, one red beam thin as a needle fired. The asteroid, the satellite, and everything around it turned to ash. Back on Earth. Ayla studied the neural rage drive again. She had built it. Using ancient parts experimental tech Earth had never dared to test. The core took raw emotions, pain, anger, sadness, and used them to generate energy. But it was dangerous. Too much rage could burn the human mind inside. Raynor had already been inside for 9 days without rest. Ayla called him through the comms. Raynor, you need to come back. You need sleep. His voice came through, low and distant. No, I feel them watching. I want them to feel me watching back. She paused. His voice didn't sound human anymore. Was it still Raynor in there? Meanwhile, the Zoreth Empire had taken notice. Inside a giant command ship orbiting a black star. High Commander Varric growled at the screen. A report showed their lost scout fleet, destroyed. This is not possible, he hissed. The humans were nothing. His advisor, a pale alien with glowing blue eyes, spoke carefully. They have built something new, a weapon powered by the human mind. Varric bared his teeth. Send the next fleet. No more scouts. Send the hunters. 3 days later, Earth's long-range sensors picked up some 12 enemy ships approaching at light speed. The Zoroth were coming back. General Travis stood before the global command. We have one ship ready, he said. Just one. Someone asked, can it win? He didn't blink. It has to. Judgment was launched again. Raynor was quiet inside the core chamber. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He only stared forward as the ship moved through space, as the Zorith fleet arrived. Near Saturn, Judgment dropped out of warp dash alone. The aliens laughed. 12 against 1. One said, they are still weak. But then Judgment spoke, not in words, in raw feeling. The Zorith ships felt something they had never felt before. Fear, because Judgment was not a machine. It was a burning scream. It was a burning scream of a man who had nothing left to lose. Raynor locked targets. Memories flashed in his mind, his daughter's laugh, his wife's smile. Then the fire, the screams, his rage boiled. The neural core glowed bright red, firing. 12 beams of plasma shot out, teach, hitting a different ship. 5 enemy ships exploded instantly. The rest panicked and scattered. But Judgment was faster, smarter, angrier. It hunted them one by one, bending around gravity, using space itself. As a weapon, one Zoroth destroyer begged for mercy. The last thing it heard was Raynor's voice. This is for Earth. Then silence. After the battle, Earth received a transmission. Just one line sent from Judgment. Let them come. But inside the ship, something had changed. Raynor's heartbeat was no longer normal. His brainwaves were blending with the AI. He was no longer just the pilot. He was the ship. Now Dr. Wren watched the vitals and whispered, we created something we can't control. General Travis stared at the screen, quiet. He has control now, he said, and as long as he remembers Earth, he'll never stop. The galaxy was watching now. Other alien races who once ignored Earth now took notice. The Zorith Empire had awakened something new, something terrifying, a weapon made of grief, a machine powered by a man's broken heart. They thought humans were soft. Now they feared them. The war had truly begun. The Zorith Empire no longer saw humans as weak. They saw them as dangerous. They sent fleets. They sent hunters. All were destroyed, and the one ship behind it, all Judgment, was still hunting in the silence of deep space near the edge of the solar system. A strange blip appeared on Earth's long-range scanners. It was a Zorath scout ship. It wasn't Attacking It was watching. General Travis stood in Earth's global war room. He stared at the hologram of the enemy ship. "They're studying us," he said. Beside him, Dr. Wren added, "No, they're waiting for something bigger." Travis looked at her. "Then we give them what they're waiting for." Judgment was called again. Inside the neural core, Commander Raynor Hale sat silently. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He was one with the ship. Now, the rage that once burned inside him had become cold sharp like a knife. He didn't feel anger anymore. He felt purpose, judgment. Launched toward the edge of the solar system. Cloaked, silent, watching. The Zorath scout ship was alone. Its crew didn't expect a human response, not so soon. They laughed among themselves. "Primitive species," one of them hissed. Suddenly, a warning flashed on their screens. "Unknown object approaching." Too late, a red flash cut across space like a blade. The Zorath ship was split in half. No sound, no escape, just fire and death. Raynor's voice echoed across space, sent as a message. "You watched Earth burn. Now we watch you die." But Earth had a bigger plan. The warship Wrath was almost complete. It was larger than Judgment, heavier, slower, but its power was unmatched. Dr. Ayla Wren had improved the neural system. Wrath didn't need one human mind. It could connect with 3 at once. A new team was chosen. 2 veterans and 1 young woman named Lieutenant Sanavale. She had survived the fall of Mumbai. Buried for 3 days in rubble. Her mind was strong. Her pain deeper than anyone knew. She stepped into the neural link chamber. She whispered, "Let them feel what we felt." As WRATH powered up, another signal came from space. It wasn't just scouts this time. It was a full Zorath strike fleet, 22 ships, 6 battleships, and 1 command carrier that were heading straight for Earth time, 48 hours. Earth had only 2 warships, Judgment and Wrath, outnumbered, outgunned, out of time. General Travis stood before the Earth Defense Council. "We can't wait for them to come to us," he said. "We take the fight to them." Silence followed. Then 1 council member stood. "What if we fail?" Travis looked at the screen the photos of burning cities, dead families, broken homes. "Then we fail fighting." The mission was set. Both warships would intercept the enemy fleet near Neptune far enough from Earth to avoid civilian loss. Dr. Wren gave the neural core team final checks. "You don't have to do this," she told Raynor. His eyes glowed red inside the ship. "I do." The 2 ships left Earth's orbit like shadows. Judgment moved like a ghost silent. Deadly Wrath burned like a star loud. Furious, they reached Neptune's orbit in just hours. There in the cold blackness, the Zorath fleet appeared. 2 ships, perfectly aligned, confident, ready to erase what remained of human resistance until they saw them. 2 tiny blips on their radar, 2 human ships. The Zorath commander laughed. "They bring 2 ships to face us." Another alien whispered, "They're the same ones that destroyed the scouts." Too late, the battle began. Judgment struck first, slashing through the first line of ships, like a blade through paper. Didn't speak. The ship moved as if it had instincts, dancing between beams. Firing with precision and fury, Wrath followed, glowing red as the emotions of its 3 pilots synced together. Grief, rage, justice. It released a wave of plasma fire that lit up the darkness. 3 enemy ships vanished instantly. The Zorath fleet returned fire. Blue lasers, acid missiles, gravity bombs. Space exploded in flashes of color. But Earth's warships were faster, smarter, angrier, one by one. Zorath ships fell. Inside Wrath, Lieutenant Sanavale began to cry. Not because she was scared, because she remembered her little brother's voice, calling for her under the rubble. A voice she never heard again. That memory became a weapon. The neural core inside Wrath pulsed with a scream. The ship fired a red beam so powerful, it pierced through 3 Zorath ships in a straight line. The Zorath command carrier tried to retreat it. Didn't get far. Judgment appeared above it like death itself. Raynor spoke for the first time in the battle. "Earth remembers." The warship fired 1 last shot. The command carrier exploded in silence. The rest of the Zorath fleet fled. Earth had drawn first blood in deep space, and the galaxy was now paying attention. Back at Black Core, Ala watched the footage in silence. 2. Human ships had taken on a fleet of 20-2.1. But she wasn't smiling. She looked at Rayner's brain scan. His vitals were changing. The neural core was becoming too strong. He wasn't just a man. Anymore, he was becoming something else, something not fully. Human Dart Earth had won its first real battle. But what had it created to do so? And what would happen when the man inside the ship was no longer just a man? The Zorath had tasted defeat. They had lost 22 ships to only 2 human war machines, Judgment and Wrath. It shocked them. They had ruled the stars for centuries, crushing hundreds of worlds. But Earth had fought back, and Earth had won now. The Zorath wanted revenge, but Earth was ready far beneath the icy moon of Europa. Inside a frozen cavern, a secret base was being built, hidden under the thick ice, invisible to enemy scans. It was a trap. General Travis stood over the glowing battlefield map at Black Core Command. He pointed to Europa. "They'll come here next. This is where we hit them." The base looked like a mining station. A fake distress signal would be sent into deep space, something only the Zorath would detect. It would say, "Critical damage, weapons offline, human survivors trapped." A perfect bait. Dr. Ayla Wren watched the plan unfold with a heavy heart. She knew it would work, but she also knew what it might cost. Rayner Hale, now fully connected to Judgment, had stopped responding to calls. He no longer spoke like a man. He moved like a weapon, cold-focused, unstoppable. Ala whispered to herself, "We didn't save him. We turned him into something else." Still, they needed him. Earth needed him, and he would be the sword they used. Across the stars, the High Command received the distress signal from Europa. It looked real. They believed it was a weak, human mining base begging for help, the kind of easy kill they loved. They sent a small, fast-attack fleet, 10 ships, led by a ruthless commander named Vexercool. He had one goal, to crush whatever was left on Europa and send Earth a warning. But he had no idea he was flying straight into a trap. Judgment and Wrath left Earth silently, cloaked in darkness. They arrived early, hidden behind Europa's ice rings. Soldiers activated decoy beacons and fake life signs. Everything was perfect. Now they waited. The Zorath ships came fast and proud. They hovered above the ice, scanning for human movement. Nothing but broken machines. One alien said. Vexa Arkle smirked. "Easy target." He gave the order, "Burn it." But the moment their weapons charged, the ice cracked. Rising from beneath, like monsters from the deep, came Judgment and Wrath, ready for war. No warning, no mercy. Judgment struck first, its beam slicing one Zorath ship in half before they could even react. Wrath followed with a burst of plasma fire, knocking another into Europa's frozen surface. The trap was sprung. Inside Wrath, Lieutenant Sana Vale felt her heart race. Her hands shook, but she didn't hesitate. She remembered her little brother's face, his smile before the attack on Mumbai. She used that memory now. Her rage became energy. Her pain became power. The neural core inside Wrath roared, and the ship responded. One Zorath battleship tried to flee. Wrath chased it down and tore it apart. Commander Vexercool screamed orders. "Form a line. Return fire." But nothing worked. The human ships were too fast, too smart, too angry, and now they were fighting on their terms. Inside Judgment, Rayner's thoughts were quiet but sharp. He remembered nothing but fire, screams, the loss of his family. He didn't care if he lived. He only cared that the Zorath died. The ship reacted to every emotion. His hatred became light. His sadness became blades. He moved through the enemy ships like a shadow. Striking without warning, no one saw him coming. No one survived. Within 8 minutes, 8 of the 10 enemy ships were destroyed. The other 2 fled, but not far. Earth's hidden satellites blocked their exit route, scrambling their warp drives. They were trapped. Wrath caught one with a full plasma. Wave vaporized it mid-turn. Judgment hunted the last. Commander Vexercool shouted into his comms, begging for help. "This is Vexercool. We were tricked." His voice stopped. Judgment hovered silently above his ship. Rayner spoke one final sentence. "This is for every child who cried under the ash," and fired. The last Zoroth ship was turned into glowing dust. Europa was silent again, but now the ice didn't just hide a trap, it hid a victory. Earth's first planned attack, a perfect ambush, and the galaxy was watching. Back on Earth, General Travis stood before the Earth Defense Union. His voice was calm but heavy. "We set the trap. They took the bait, and now they know." Alla watched from the shadows. She didn't speak. She stared at the data from Judgment's core. Raynor's vitals were fading. He hadn't spoken since the final blast. He hadn't blinked, hadn't moved. He was alive, but something inside him had. Changed later that night. Ayla sat alone, looking at an old photo, Raynor, his wife, and their daughter. Smiling in a park, she whispered, "I'm sorry." Then she turned back to the screen. Another signal had just been detected, a massive Zoroth armada, heading straight for Mars. The real war was just beginning. The trap at Europa was a success. 10 Zoroth warships destroyed. No human losses it was. The biggest victory Earth had seen in the war. But it was also a warning. The Zoroth would not fall for another trick. They would come back harder, stronger, and angry. Inside Black Corps Command, the mood was serious. General Travis looked at the screen. A new signal had been picked up, a massive Zoroth armada. 50 warships was heading straight for Mars. ETA. 72 hours. Travis spoke to his top officers. "We don't know if they're planning to attack or just pass by, but we can't take that risk." Earth needed information. They had destroyed many enemy ships at Europa. One of them had crashed onto the icy surface, mostly intact. That wreck could hold the secrets. Earth needed Dr. Alaren led the mission. A team of scientists and soldiers landed on Europa. They moved carefully through the broken remains of the Zoroth warship. Its walls were covered in alien writing, strange, glowing symbols. The air was cold and thin, filled with burned metal and ash. But deep inside the wreck, they found something shocking. A data core, still working. Ayla gasped. This could tell us everything. They brought it back to Earth. At Black Core Lab, the top minds worked to crack the alien encryption. It was hard. Zoroth tech was like nothing seen before. But after hours of effort, the core began to respond. A strange hologram appeared. It showed the Zoroth High Command. Planning their war, one voice echoed clearly, "Earth must fall. Their kind is unstable, too emotional, too dangerous." Another voice spoke. "This is not just war. This is cleansing." General Travis clenched his fists. "So this is their reason. They don't want to conquer. They want to erase us." Alla looked at the final section of the recording. It showed a map of the Milky Way. Many planets were marked in red, destroyed. One was marked in white, Earth. Below it, 2 words glowed in Zoroth language. Final threat, the meaning was clear. The Zoroth feared humans. They didn't just see Earth as a target, they saw it as a virus, something dangerous, something that could spread, and they were right. Meanwhile, far above the moon, Judgment floated in silence. Commander Raynor. Hale had not spoken since the battle at Europa. His body was alive, but his mind was somewhere else. The neural core had changed him. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was something more and something less. Part of the ship, part of the weapon. Alla visited the ship through a remote channel. She spoke softly. "Raynor, if you can hear me, you're still human. You're still you." For a long moment, there was nothing. Then a voice. Cold, distant, echoing through the comms. "They fear US because they know what we can become." Ayla blinked. "Raynor, I see them now. I hear them whisper. I feel their fear." The voice wasn't normal. It was like Raynor was speaking from inside a storm back at the lab. Ayla stared at the map again. One thing bothered her. The Zoroth had destroyed many planets, but never with this much effort. "Why Earth?" she asked the AI for a full scan of the data. After an hour of searching, it found something buried deep. A report from over 600 years ago. The Zoroth had first detected Earth's radio signals in ancient times. At first, they ignored humans, but over time, they watched. They saw how fast humans evolved, how they built machines, learned languages, invented weapons all. In just a few centuries, other species took thousands of years. Humans did it in hundreds. The Zora thought, and when Earth survived the first attack and fought back with 2 ships. That fear became panic. General Travis stood before the Earth Defense Union. He showed the evidence. They don't fear our weapons. They fear our potential. They fear what we could become in 100 years, or 50, or even 10. He looked around the room. That means we can win. But they had a problem. The Zorath fleet was still coming. For Mars' and Earth's ships needed time to recharge and repair. They had only 2 days left. Dr. Wren had an idea, a dangerous one. If we want to slow them down, she said, we need to hit them before they reach Mars. Force them to change direction, confuse them. Yes, she said. Another one. But this time, we do it near Phobos Mars' moon. Make it look like our main fleet is hiding there. Travis nodded slowly. And when they go after it, we strike from behind. The trap was set, but something else was coming deep inside. Judgment. Raynor had seen a vision, something the Zorath didn't know he could access. A memory. A hidden command, an ancient Zoroth signal that wasn't meant for humans. It said, Phase 2, Planet Wipe Protocol. Activate only if Earth resists, Raynor whispered from the neural core. They're not just sending ships next time. They're sending a planet killer. Earth had little time. The war had reached its most dangerous stage. Now, it was not just about defending cities. It was about saving the planet itself, and the only hope left was to human warships with the rage of millions. Behind them, the sky above Mars turned black. 50 Zorath warships entered the orbit, casting long shadows over the red planet. Each ship was larger than a city, bristling with weapons. At the center of the fleet floated a massive command ship 10 times the size of Earth's warships. It was called the Cleanser. It wasn't just built to fight, it was built to erase planets at Earth's war room. General Travis stood still, his face hard. They're not here to win a battle, he said. They're here to finish us. Behind him, screens showed the Zorath fleet closing in on Mars. Civilians were being evacuated from the Martian colonies. But there wasn't much time. Only 2 ships stood between the enemy and total destruction. Judgment, a ship powered by one man's grief and rage. WRATH, a vessel fueled by the minds of 3 broken but strong souls. Earth had no more tricks left, no more traps. This would be the final stand. Above Phobos, the small moon of Mars, Judgment and Wrath floated in silence, waiting. Commander Raynor Hale sat inside the neural core of Judgment. His eyes no longer looked human. His voice was now calm, steady, and strange. He could feel the Zorath coming before the scanners did. He whispered, they're close, and they're ready to kill everything. Inside Wrath, Lieutenant Sannevel and her team held hands in silence. Each of them had lost everything but found purpose inside this ship. We fight for the dead, Sana said. And for those who still live, the Zorath fleet entered attack formation. Dozens of fighters launched from the Cleanser, spreading out in waves, ready to crush any resistance. Their leader, High Warlord Zelter, gave one command: no survivors, no messages. End Earth today. The battle began. Judgment fired first. Its red beam shot through the darkness, striking an enemy warship with precision. The Zorath ship exploded in a silent flash. Immediately, the rest of the fleet opened fire. Blue lasers and energy torpedoes filled the sky. Wrath dove between the blasts, unleashing a storm of plasma in return. 2 Zorath destroyers were hit, directly ripped in half by the raw force of Earth's fury. But there were too many. The sky around Mars lit up like a storm of fire. Judgment took a hit. Its armor cracked. Sparks flew inside the neural chamber. Raynor didn't flinch. He simply remembered his wife's hand, his daughter's voice. The silence after the blast that took them, and the ship responded. It roared like a beast. A red shockwave burst from Judgment, wiping out 3 Zoroth ships in one blast. On Earth, people watched live feeds. They didn't cry. They didn't scream. They stood together, silent and strong. For the first time, they weren't afraid. They were angry. But then the Cleanser moved. Its lower decks opened, revealing a massive cannon, a weapon designed to fire a beam strong enough to melt planets. General Travis saw the data and shouted, "It's charging! That beam will turn Mars into dust." Ayla Wren grabbed the Raynor. "You have to stop it." Inside Judgment, Raynor opened his eyes. I see it. Raynor spoke directly to Wrath. We go together. One hits the core, the other takes. The cannon, Sonnavale replied. You take the shot. We'll clear the path. Wrath accelerated toward the enemy lines. It flew low and fast, firing non-stop, cutting a path straight to the cleanser inside. Sana cried silently, remembering her brother's laughter. She whispered, "This is for you, little one," and fired. The cleanser's shields cracked. Judgment came in next. Cloaked in red light, Raynor focused every memory, every scream, every tear into one single beam. The ship fired. It tore through the Zoroth's main cannon. Just seconds before it could fire on Mars, the cleanser shook violently. Inside, High Warlord Zelter screamed in fury, "Kill them all!" Zoroth fighters swarmed both ships. Wrath took several hits. Its engines flared. One pilot inside passed out from the strain. Judgment was hit again. Raynor felt pain. Not physical pain, emotional pain. Too many memories. Too much power. The neural core began to break. Isla watched the readings from Earth. "Raynor, get out! Disconnect!" But Raynor didn't respond. He whispered one last line. "I was born on a world that burned. Now I burn for it." Judgment turned toward the cleanser one last time. Its power core overloaded. Its weapons charged. Raynor's final memory, his daughter smiling, flashed in his mind. Then, silence. A red explosion lit up space. Like a second sun, the cleanser was gone. The rest of the Zoroth fleet panicked. Without their leader, they fled. Wrath, damaged but alive, did not chase. The battle was over. Mars was saved, but Judgment was gone, and so was Raynor Hale, a man who gave up everything so Earth could have a tomorrow. On Earth, billions stood in silence. Then they cheered, not for victory, but for sacrifice. Dr. Alaren placed her hand on the cold glass. Looking into space, she whispered, "You were the weapon they never expected. You were our judgment, and you were enough." But as Earth rebuilt, a new signal appeared far beyond the edge of the galaxy. A ship, old, massive, alive. The Zoroth had one final weapon. And it was now. Awake, the Zoroth had failed. Their greatest fleet destroyed, their planet-killer ship. The cleanser reduced to ash. Earth had survived the impossible, but peace did not come. Instead, a new signal was picked up. It came from the dark edge of the galaxy beyond, known space. It was old, huge, alive. Earth's scanners barely understood it. One line appeared on every screen. Zoroth, Dreadnought, Oryx, AL, status, awakening, target, Earth. General Travis stood frozen. He had seen many wars, but this was something else. The Oryx AL wasn't a ship. It was a planet-sized weapon, built long ago by the Zoroth. As a final answer to rebellion, it hadn't moved in over 10,000 years until now. Earth's leaders gathered at Black Core. The question was simple. Can we stop it? Dr. Alaren gave her answer with a heavy heart. "No," she said, "not with weapons, not with fire, but we have one last chance." She pointed to the memory core recovered from Judgment, Commander Raynor Hale's final thoughts, stored. "In the neural drive before the explosion, there's something in here," Ayla said. "Something ... human and powerful." It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a machine. It was Raynor's voice, his soul, his emotion, his final will. It had fused with the ship. And survived. Alla stared at the screen. What if we send that to the Oryx AL? The plan was crazy, but Earth had no other options. Using fragments of Judgment's neural drive, Earth built one last ship, not for war, but for transmission. It was small, unarmed, but fast. Inside, it carried the full core of Raynor Hale's final thoughts, a pure signal, made of grief, made of love, made of humanity, they called it. Project Echo. Lieutenant Sana Vale volunteered to launch it. Wrath was too damaged to fly again, but her will was not broken. She stood before the launch gate. "I'll deliver the message," she said, "even if I don't come back." Ayla hugged her. "You're not going there to destroy them," she said softly. "You're going to make them understand." The Echo ship launched into deep space. It moved faster than anything Earth had ever built. As it neared the Zoroth dreadnought, it transmitted one signal over and over again. "This is Earth. You came in fire. We answered with rage. But we are more than war. We are memory. We are feeling. We are human. Inside the Orixa L, something stirred. Old systems flickered. Strange, alien machines scanned the message. It didn't make sense to them, but it made them, feel something. The first time in their cold, ancient lives. The Zorith hesitated. They felt sorrow, regret, fear not of death, but of what they had become. The ORXAL slowed. Its massive weapon systems powered down, and then it turned not toward Earth, but away. The signal stopped. The ship vanished into the dark dot on Earth. The entire world held its breath. Then the message came, from Lieutenant Sana. Just 3 words, they turned back. Earth cheered not for victory, but for peace. In the years that followed, Earth rebuilt, Mars became a stronghold. The Europa base became a monument. Statues of judgment and wrath stood tall. Him in schools, not as a soldier, but as the man who turned rage into hope. Dr. Alaren walked alone one evening, staring at the stars. The war was over, but her heart still remembered. A soft voice played in her ear from the last log of Raynor. Hail, if they come again, remind them who we are. We are the ones who burn but rise. We are the ones they should never strike twice. And the galaxy remembered. Earth was no longer the quiet blue planet at the edge of space. It was a symbol, a warning, a flame that would never go out.